We bring you the latest updates from the PNA Newsroom. More than 7,000 overseas Filipinos were repatriated this year, led by the Office of the Undersecretary for Migrant Workers Affairs, or UMWA. In its accomplishment report, the DFA said 57.67% of repatriates are from the Middle East. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. earlier said the coordination between the DFA and the newly created Department of Migrant Workers further strengthened the government's bid to provide assistance to overseas Filipinos. He also recognized the valuable contribution of overseas Filipino workers, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the DFA said it had issued a total of 3,589,620 passports from January to October this year, along with 55,574 visas and 551,635 apostille certificates. Bilateral agreements were also signed in terms of defense, culture, counterterrorism, trade and investment, technology and data protection, and migrant workers protection. A total of 155 members of the Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army have surrendered to different police units in Metro Manila from January to December 26 this year. The National Capital Region Police said the latest to surrender were 55 former members of the rebel group who turned over to the authorities their firearms and ammunition. They are now undergoing debriefing and will be enrolled to the government's Enhanced Comprehensive and Local Integration Program, or ECLIP. Meanwhile, 16 rebels were arrested and one died in a police operation since January. Following the death of CPP founding chair Jose Maria Sison, the government has urged communist rebels to give up the armed struggle and return to mainstream society. In a media statement, NCRPO Chief Major General Jonel Estomo said it is time to end armed conflict and set aside their differences and unite in pursuing a safe and progressive community. 1. At least 13 people have been reported dead in the Christmas Day floods that struck the eastern and southern parts of the Philippines. In a report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, the fatalities were from northern Mindanao, Bicol region, Eastern Visayas, and Zamboanga Peninsula. 6 people were also reported injured, while 23 others are missing. About 44,000 families in Mimaropa, Bicol region, Eastern Visayas, Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Mindanao, and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao have been affected by the shear line that brought heavy rains and floods. The bad weather damaged 14.58 million pesos worth of infrastructure in Bicol region and Northern Mindanao, while the cost of agricultural damage was pegged at 59.82 million. Meanwhile, about 5.24 million pesos worth of aid has also been distributed to affected residents in Bicol region, Eastern Visayas, and Zamboanga Peninsula. At least 47 died across 9 states in the United States due to a relentless storm, which authorities say could be the blizzard of the century. The blizzard condition has gripped the United States for over several days, causing widespread outages and travel delays with over 15,000 U.S. flights canceled. In Buffalo, New York, the epicenter of the crisis, at least 25 deaths have been reported, with bodies being discovered in vehicles and under snowbanks. Some western New York towns were buried under a 30 to 40 inches or up to 1 meter of snow overnight on Monday. At least 50,000 houses on the U.S. East Coast were left without electricity. Residents are warned to bunker down and stay in place. And that is the latest and the biggest stories from the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. We are also shown on the social media pages of the Office of the Press Secretary and on Radio Pilipinas RP1. Stay tuned for more news updates. I am William Theo. We tell stories that inspire change.